heart attack. Fast, fatal, hard impact. Past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask, grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new submerged juice. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do continue, let us give a brief little review. In the last part, quite a number of things have happened. We had Deku, Mizuki, and Ochako. Now, these three, they were looked at very suspiciously for their powers, their abilities, and their training. All of them share one address, but they don't seem to be related. UA has it on public record what they found of these three. Their records go back to a certain point where all of them, they diverge. However, at some point, they all do meet up together. And right now they're trying to understand why that is. Apparently they've all been raised by the same pro. Someone who may have lost his family and decided that, well, he was going to take in some children and train them. Maybe one day allow them to become pros with proper training before UA. And right now Nezu, there was a lot on his mind. He was confused as to why a pro would do that. I mean, is it to try and better the system? Is it as to try and, well, repent for something he's going to do? Train really good pros and then turn around and hurt the person who killed his family? Why would they do that? Nezu had a million questions. And he was also concerned about Deku, Mizuki, and Ochako. Specifically Mizuki. Answering a question would basically turn him into a brainwashed puppet. And he was more focused on that. He tried to make sure he can analyze her mannerisms. Whenever she spoke, whether or not she was going to use her quirk and when she wasn't going to. And Deku was actually the one who brainwashed him, making him believe he already did everything to the letter. Now, there actually are two people who are currently suspicious of Deku. And right now, they have good reason. There currently is Ayama, the traitor for UA. He is curious about Deku because his power, it is unlike any quirk he's seen before. If he does have to say, it looks like multiple abilities. I mean, shapeshifting and atomic restructuring. That's what's happening with Izuku. That's the best way to explain it. Somehow he's able to alter his body in ways that should not be possible for one quirk. I mean, he could be just really talented, but he wants to confirm with All For One that this isn't another spy. And right now, after All For One heard about that, he was immediately gravitated towards that ability. Deku, he seems to be immune to damage at a certain point. And at another point, he seems to be able to reshape his body in ways that aren't humanly possible. And then there's actually Bakugo. Bakugo believes that this is somebody from his past. But, however, he's sadly been mistaken. So far, he's been trying to convince himself this is not Izuku Midoriya. The eyes are different, the shape of the nose is different, the jawline's different, the attitude's different, and the ability, it does hold similarities. That's what Bakugo went off of the moment he heard Ida talk about it. Now, obviously Deku, he's trying to keep a low profile. And then there actually was things with Deku and Mizuki. These two, they both sort of confess their feelings for each other. And right now, going forwards, they're trying to discover how to deal with that. Now, with that explanation out of the way, we do currently have over with UA. UA, things have been going very smoothly. However, whenever Deku, he does try to talk to All Might, yeah. All Might always seems to be busy. He always seems to be running off somewhere. He doesn't understand why. The man is the #1 hero. When he's seen publicly, it's good, but it doesn't seem to last long. And right now Deku, he's confused about that. He wants to speak to the hero. He wants to actually talk to the man. I mean, this used to be his idol. What he wanted to be when he grew up. But right now, I mean, he's only ever here for combat training and instructing, and even then you can't even get a word out to him. He's fast-paced, he's quick, and he seems to always just disappear at random points. However, after a bit more thinking, Deku, he does discuss it with both of the other two girls. And right now the three are sitting down at lunch. And the conversation just goes following. Have you guys noticed that All Might's been acting up? Hmm? I have. Yeah, it's weird, but he's a very busy pro, right? He's number one. Exactly. I mean, how do we know he's not going off campus to save people? It would make a good, well, excuse, right? Sorry I couldn't come to class. I had to bench press a semi truck from crushing a school bus. I mean, he's the number one hero. Anything he does can just be written off as him going out to save people to stay number one. I get that, but All Might's had a decline in years. Remember? Hmm? Yeah. What was it? Somewhere around 15 years ago, whenever All Might was still closer towards his prime, the chances of him appearing and saving people, what was it? Somewhere around 50%? I mean, if you do want to be realistic, then it is 50%. But statistically, it was seen as higher. Right, that's just what I mean. It does make sense. Actually, the Hero Committee, they were talking about that once. They were. Yeah, I brainwashed somebody from the committee once, and they told me that All Might, he has seen a decline in hero activity. He's seen for very few hours of the day. Really? Yes. If I do have to say it, then could it just be his age affecting him? Hmm. Well, he's over 40, right? I believe so. Maybe closer to 50? It could just be his age is finally catching up with him. I mean, what is it? Going off statistics, then All Might, even if he does work out and physically stay capable like that, how he does, then he's still got a limit. He's, well, way past his prime. That does make sense. But if he's past his prime, then why hasn't he lost any muscle mass? Hmm? That is a good point. Maybe he tries to work out to maintain it. It could be his quirk. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't? Yeah, Izuku's right. His quirk is about wind pressure, isn't it? I don't know. Yeah, no one knows his quirk, Ochako. So, All Might disappears for random points in the day. Whenever he reappears, he's back up and running, I guess? So what does that mean? I don't know. So, what are our theories right now? Deku brings his hand down onto the table. And right now, Deku, he does want to look towards Ochako, telling her. Right now, he does have a few ideas. But at the current moment, they need more information. They need data because it does seem like All Might, his quirk, might be affecting his age. Maybe it's pushing him past his limit? You think so? Maybe. It's either that or All Might just off campus, running around a lot, training and fighting. That is a good point, but if that's the case, then why did his hero work suddenly take a dip all those years ago? I didn't think about that. No. Mizuki actually has something going to bring her hand down. Her actually something going on to Deku's, and Deku does something going to turn towards her. What is it? Someone's coming over. Deku looking up. And right now, Deku, he does something to grab onto her hand, and someone look up. As right now, Kirishima does walk over, asking the three if he can sit down with them to eat. Sure. Now, Kirishima would sit down and ask Kozo exactly what's up with his quirk. Oh. Deku, he does look towards Kirishima, and as he does open his mouth to start trying to explain it to him, a few of the people, they're coming over. And right now, Deku, he does so going to turn his head and see that. Oh, great. Now, Deku, he has actually gotten a bit more accustomed to these people. They're all the same age. and they've had different experiences, but right now it's interesting to see. They all have different types of powers. And so far, while Deku he hasn't been trying to make friends, it seems like people they're intrigued to learn more about his abilities, train with him, and possibly even spar against him. I mean, he was the top person for the entrance exam. Granted, his grades weren't up there, but his power it got him into UA. And a few people they want to know different ways he could utilize his abilities, since they could probably look into their own abilities and it could rub off on them. Now, right now, the entire large table does have Jiro, Momo, and Mina, along with Kirishima, Denki, Soji, Ayama, and Tokoyami. Now, Deku, he currently does look at the table, which, well, it did used to be have, well, it did used to have a lot more leg room. It kind of feels a little stuffy. And right now, Deku, he currently is sitting next to Mizuki, as he does have someone on his right. Deku looking directly at Kirishima. Now, Deku, he does actually have a few questions thrown at him. And right now, Deku, he does try to explain his ability. As long as he does have contact with the material, and he's, well, turned himself into it before, then he can actually copy the material and paste it to him. Now, a few people, they don't really get this analogy. And there actually is Momo, who she actually does talk about how it sounds a lot like her ability. And Deku does turn to her. This actually might be interesting to hear. He'll get to learn about their abilities as well. Which ones he might be able to take, which ones he might be able to use, which ones might be the best. I mean, he's fairly certain that he's copied Baku's explosions to the point where he's going to keep them, but the explosive, yeah. Right now, he's a lot more intrigued. But there is somebody here at this table that doesn't sit well with Deku. Somebody Deku, he's curious about their powers and abilities. Now, right now, Momo does start her explanation. She can create, using the fat lipids in her body, anything that she does know how to create. As long as she does know the atomic structures, then she can create them very few at a time and basically weld them together. Well, it's not really a good way of saying it, that's the best way to put it. She can create things from her body, as long as she does know the structure of it and how to make it. Now, Deku does look towards her, and he actually does think that actually does explain his ability very well. And there actually is where Kirishima, he is intrigued. And right now a lot of people, they're going a million miles an hour. The conversations are getting loud, and a lot of people, they're talking. And their actions are Deku, he does look tricky towards Soji. And Shoji, he does look towards Deku as Deku does ask him a question. Hey Soji, I'm kind of confused about something. What is it? Your power, right? Yeah. What is it exactly? Oh, body augmentation. Right, so it's similar to mine. Sorta, but yours is strange. I mean, hmm. You can copy materials, right? Kinda, but my ability so far whenever I was younger only went to metals. Since trying to make limbs was a bit tricky. I mean, I kinda once got stuck with a claw for a hand. As funny as that does sound. I mean, my abilities have always been fairly simple. Now, Deku does hear the man explain them. And then Deku, he actually looked towards somebody who he is quite curious about, as he does ask Denki about his strength and augmentation ability. And right now Denki, he does look towards Deku. Huh? Oh, you mean my quirk? Yeah, it's sort of weird, I get it. But, well, it's not all that bad, right? Hmm. You can produce lightning, and you're also fast and strong. But the lightning, from what I've seen, does it enhance your power, or is it a byproduct? Right. Well, that's sort of tricky to explain. Hmm. It's strange. If it's not a part of his quirk and he's having trouble with difficulty, like I'm having difficulty, he has another quirk, doesn't he? Now, the moment that does click into Deku's mind, he actually saw him going to squeeze with his left hand, Mizuki's right. And right now, after she does someone going to look towards him, Deku, he actually has his eyes start towards her before looking directly at Denki. And Denki, he doesn't even notice this happening. As the other conversations at the table, they're kind of, distracting other people. No. Mizuki, she does look towards Denki. And Denki, he does try to at least continue with his explanation. And Mizuki does somewhat realize what Deku's talking about. Why he got her to focus on this specifically. This doesn't seem right. And right now there actually is Ayama. Ayama, he's just sitting here quietly listening and trying to talk about a few things. However, there also is the fact that Deku, he seems to be more, well, what's the best way of saying it? Militaristic. His training is good, but if he's not with All For One like All For One says, then why is his power so diverse? Ayama actually somewhat noticed the way Deku and Mizuki were acting. And right now, it actually is seen as strange to him. He does want to jot it down. For some reason, they're suspicious of Denki? Okay. Now, whenever lunch does end, their actions are Deku, he actually does talk to Tokoyami. And Tokoyami, he actually is intrigued whenever Deku does ask him about how Dark Shadow executives work. And Dark Shadow, he does pop out and try to explain. And Deku, he is intrigued by it. Sentient quirks. He's heard about those before. The committee wanted to give him one, but they believed that it would be bad for him. It might influence his decision making. It might be seen as a distraction, something else in his mind that wouldn't be focused on the goal. If they gave him a sentient quirk, it would try to undo what they did, or it might try to buckle down and enforce them on Deku, or it might try to have its own goals, manipulate Deku in ways that they've seen certain criminals claim their quirks have done. And well, if they try to give Deku the quirk of a criminal, will it be a copy of that thing with a clean slate, or will it be some deranged psychotic quirk? They had their questions, and many of them, they decided ultimately that that was a bad idea. But Deku, he is intrigued. However, there is an issue. Right now, Deku, he doesn't grab on a Tokoyami. He decides to leave it alone. Because if that thing does just pop out randomly and he can't really control it, then, well, yeah. Best not to give himself away. Now, Deku, he actually does, well, find it to be interesting though. Many of the people sitting at the table, they seem like good candidates for quirks he could possess. People he could take the abilities of. And right now, there actually is towards the end of the day, where everybody, they do leave, and right now it feels strange. A few weeks at UA. They haven't yet encountered All Might. But this is good. I mean, they're supposed to go on a hero training thing tomorrow or whatever. Be here early. They'll see him then. Maybe during the rescue thing, they can talk to him. At least Deku can. And if All Might, he doesn't believe Deku about being able to copy abilities, he can prove it to him. Maybe then the hero committee, they can at least be put in a spotlight. I mean, besides, they're building a good reputation with the school anyway. They're building a good reputation with All Might. And, well, All Might, he would have to trust them. He's seen their powers in action. He's seen the way they've acted before, the way they've trained before. He's seen their work. He's seen, well, their scars. Now, All Might, he's aware that this might be difficult to do. A man who's on top having to question the very society he's protected. He knows that All Might, he might have questioned it before, but this ultimately, in the end, could cause a lot of things, shift it around, and create many problems. However, as that is currently happening with Deku, there actually is somebody who they're dealing with their own problems. With the fact that Deku and the girls have gone missing, and Hawks is currently searching, a lot of that extra work has been dumped on somebody who has had their load lightened. And right now that pressure they're feeling, it's come back. The idea in their mind of what happened to them, the idea of them doing this for so long, and right now it's somewhat getting to them. They've been doing this for so long, they've always thought they were losing it. There are times where they've been delusional, times where they've seen it as they've lost their mind. But right now, they know it's wrong. They've looked into it. They've been sort of conducting their own investigation on the Hero Committee. They wanted to get a few things out. And right now, that's just the thing. Lady Nagant to stand there. And she is looking down at her hands before she goes to turn and run away. And right now, the Hero Committee, they're a bit alarmed. One of their agents just shot the Hero Committee, well, head chairman. And the chairman, yeah. Right now, what he ordered her to do, she's going to refuse. She did refuse. That file right there, it is God. These people are monsters. Why didn't she listen? The boy was telling the truth. He just wanted to be left alone. He wasn't a monster. He was a child. The blood on her hands, the things that she's done for these people, the things that that boy has had to do. They've really gone way too far with this. They're not pros. They're not good people. They're just they just convinced themselves of that, haven't they? They really are monsters. Now, Lena God is currently running, and right now she's trying to get away. The Hero Committee they are going to come after her. She knows that. Right now, there's a lot of problems though. She needs to talk to someone that might be able to give the word. Maybe even, well, help Izuku, if they can. But she doesn't know who to trust. The committee have had their reach in very, very far places. And that reach has gone everywhere as far as she does know. Japan might already be compromised. These people, their plans are, well, bad. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.